What is going on, Headliner Nation? Hopefully everyone's doing well out there today. We're talking about our quick and dirty top 30 wide receivers for fantasy football here in week 8. Now, I've been doing this long enough that I know exactly how this show is going to go because we have no teams on bye this week, which means we have a plethora of wide receivers at our disposal. The issue with that is I can't fit 50 wide receivers that are really deserving into the top 30. I just can't do it. So as we're going through these rankings here today, I have a feeling you're going to be like, where's so-and-so at? And honestly, it's probably a pretty good question. But if we're being honest, from wide receiver 25 to 27 or so on, the names really become interchangeable for the most part. A lot of those guys are deserving of those final few spots. But I don't really know if you've noticed it here as of late, but the wide receiver position is starting to do what the running back position has done here over the last few years. Because we have seen a lot of NFL teams go to a running back by committee style approach. Well, all of a sudden, same type of thing is happening with wide receivers. In years past, we've seen teams really go out there and utilize heavily 2 or 3 wide receivers or so. Now, all of a sudden, we have like 5 or 7 different pass catchers getting targets a week on almost every single team. That leads to an absolute ranking nightmare when it comes to fantasy football. But because we're all going to be so stressed out over the decisions we have to make here this week, I figured I'd do a giveaway. So I have an item that we gave away a couple weeks ago, but the winner never came forward and claimed it. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to give the damn thing away again because somebody out there is going to want this. We have a signed full-size helmet of Keenan Allen, a sick Chargers helmet. Look at this thing. Somebody out there in Headliner Nation wants to take home this helmet. Don't make me keep this. I'll keep it if nobody wants to claim it, but I figured somebody out there may want it. And maybe right now you find yourself sitting there staring at the screen being like, hell yeah, I want that helmet. What do I need to do? Thank you so much for asking. It's super simple. Hit the like button here on the video, leave a comment down below so I know that you're interested, and then be sure to have a free account signed up at pristineauction.com. It doesn't cost you anything to do it. Just be sure to use referral code Headliners when you do so. Once you use that referral code and get your account signed up, we're going to throw a little coupon into your account. So if you find something, which I'm sure you will as you're scrolling through their site, because they have so many ridiculously awesome things on that site, you're going to find something that you want, and then you'll be able to get it for a little bit of a discount. I gave this little piece of advice away just a couple weeks ago, and I know a lot of people have used it because they've been telling me in the comment section and in Discord. If you just have up their 10-minute auction during the weekdays, you can find ridiculous prices on things because a lot of people are working, they're busy. If you have an opportunity to hop on there during the day and find a 10-minute auction, I guarantee you'll be able to find something that you want for your collection at a great price. Now, if you're sitting there going like, where do I go again? Don't worry, there's a link down below in the description. You can check it out as soon as this video is over. But now is the time where we head into the rankings, and we're kicking it off number 1 with A.J. Brown. Now, no, this isn't me trying to get too cute by putting A.J. Brown number 1. The guy's on a historic pace. He's one of only 3 wide receivers in NFL history to have 5 straight games of over 125 yards receiving, and then he has a great matchup going up against one of the worst secondaries in the NFL, the Washington Commanders. Yeah, sign me up for A.J. Brown number 1. Number 2, this is where I have Stefon Diggs, Buffalo Bills, the most consistent wide receiver in fantasy football. He hasn't had a game yet this season where he scored less than 10 fantasy points for your fantasy team, and the Buffalo Bills just really haven't been playing great, which is forcing them to have to throw the ball all 4 quarters to try to win ball games. That's why Diggs is at number 2. Number 3, it's Tyreek Hill in a difficult matchup going up against New England, but that's not why he's here at number 3. Reports came out on Wednesday that he was dealing with some sort of a hip injury, and rumors are going around that he could miss week 8. Now, obviously, when Tyreek Hill is healthy and in the lineup, he's going to be in your fantasy lineup as well. But this is definitely something to pay close attention to as the week goes on to see whether or not we're going to have him or not. Number 4, it's Keenan Allen, our giveaway guy right here at number 4 in a great matchup going up against the Chicago Bears. Don't worry about a down week last week. That Kansas City defense made a conscious effort to take away Keenan Allen. That's why Josh Palmer thrived the way he did. Keenan Allen, better days are coming. He's at number 4. Number 5, it's Amon-Ra St. Brown. Dude had almost 20 targets last week and is the only wide receiver in Detroit to trust as of right now in a decent matchup going up against a banged up secondary of the Las Vegas Raiders, I got Amon-Ra at number 5. Number 6, it's Cooper Kupp, another guy who people really expected more from last week. However, don't stress too much. Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua are soaking up over 60% of the targets since Cooper Kupp's return. The volume is great. I still got him at number 6. Number 7 is Ja'Marr Chase off his bye week. Now, a lot of people are going to see that he's going up against San Francisco and they're going to worry, but don't forget, Big Kirko and the Vikings just destroyed this secondary last week. If we were able to see that, you better believe the Bengals were able to see that as well. Coming off the bye week, I got Ja'Marr Chase at 7. 8, another guy coming off the bye week, it's CeeDee Lamb of the Dallas Cowboys. If this guy could just see some consistent volume, he'd be well inside the top 5 weekly, but for whatever reason, they don't want to commit a lot of volume to him. We saw him start to get going in the game prior to the bye, hoping they can build off that momentum here in a difficult matchup going up against the Rams. I got CD at number 8. Number 9, it's Davante Adams, and this one right here is all about volume, because we don't even know who the quarterback is going to be in Las Vegas yet. What we do know is there's a lot of injuries to the defense of the Detroit Lions, and Davante Adams sitting right here at number 9. Number 10, another guy coming off the bye week. I think we're starting to see a theme here, right? Adam Thielen of the Carolina Panthers, the binky of Bryce Young in a home game going up against the Houston Texans. Another guy who really feasts on a lot of volume because there's no other wide receiver in this offense that's really taken away too much. I got Adam Thielen at number 10. Number 11, it's Puka Nacua of the Los Angeles Rams in that matchup going up against Dallas. I mentioned it with Cooper Kupp. The target share is so huge for these two guys, it's really impossible to put them any lower in the rankings. I got Puka at 11. 12 is Brandon Ayuk, and I would like to put him a little bit higher because it looks like we're not going to have Deebo Samuel again. But then news came out on Wednesday that Brock Purdy is entering the concussion protocol and may not play in Week 8. If that's the case, we have Sam Darnold. So I dropped Ayuk a couple spots, but honestly, I don't know if his floor or ceiling changes that much with Sam Darnold in this offense. Number 13, it's Mike Evans. All Mike Evans continues to do is score touchdowns, and in a game going up against Buffalo, I expect him to have to do the same thing again. Buffalo, another team dealing with a lot of injuries on defense, so I put Mike Evans at 13. 14 is Chris Olave. Now, he may be out there on the surface streets trying to qualify for the Indy 500, but what I really love to see is how they're starting to throw the ball down the field a little bit more in this offense. It tells me that Derek Carr is getting a little bit healthier. The big plays are coming at some point, so I got Olave at 14. 15 is Jalen Waddle. Honestly, he probably would be a little bit lower as of right now if it wasn't for the potential injury to Tyreek Hill. But if Tyreek Hill is limited in any way, we have to expect that Jalen Waddle, who sounds like he should be 100% healthy after dealing with back spasms in week 7, he should be the guy that sees the increase in targets. I got him at 15. 16, the safer wide receiver in Jacksonville, it's Christian Kirk in a great matchup going up against Pittsburgh. They allow points in bunches to wide receivers. 17 is his opponent in that game, George Pickens. If Pickens could get anywhere near 10 targets a week, the dude is a lock for 100 receiving yards, and it's way easier to throw against Jacksonville than it is to run against them, so I got him at 17. 18 is Drake London, really the only fantasy viable wide receiver in Atlanta. You know he's going to get his targets weekly, and now a decent matchup going up against Tennessee. He's at 18. 19 is Nico Collins coming off the bye week, and a lot of people may want to have him a little bit higher, but we should also get back Tank Dell this week as well, who's going to eat into that target share a little bit. He missed a game prior to the bye with a concussion, so I got Nico at 19. 20 is where I have Terry McLaurin and what could be a shootout going up against the Philadelphia Eagles, an Eagles team that is way easier to throw on than run on as well, and Terry been the most consistent wide receiver in Washington here the last couple weeks. 21, it's T. Higgins. We know he may not be 100% healthy. He was dealing with a rib injury pre-bye, but then he also played week 6 before the bye as well, so he should be good to go here this week going up against San Francisco. Remember, San Francisco isn't impossible to throw on. They allow the 13th most points to fantasy wide receivers, so that's why T. Higgins is at 21. 22, this is where I have DJ Moore. Sure, his ceiling is a little bit lower without Justin Fields. However, in a matchup going up against the Los Angeles Chargers, a defense that allows the most fantasy points to opposing wide receivers, I got DJ Moore at 22. 23, this is where I have Zay Flowers of the Baltimore Ravens, the most consistent producer in this wide receiver group for the Baltimore Ravens. Now, we've started to see a little bit more Odell Beckham here as of late, but really on those short to intermediate routes. Down the field, it's Zay Flowers in a great matchup going up against Arizona. That's why he's at 23. 24, another rookie wide receiver is Jordan Addison, who continues to be a big-time touchdown threat. And now all of a sudden, he's starting to gain the confidence of his quarterback in Kirk Cousins. Jordan Addison just had himself a breakout game in week 7, and we don't even know if Jair Alexander is going to be active or not for the Green Bay Packers. I don't dislike Addison whatsoever this week. I got him at 24. 25 is Deontay Johnson of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, in his first game back from injury, we saw him play 66% of the snaps, but you have to expect that number to come up a little bit, and in a great matchup going up against Jacksonville, I put him at 25. 26 is Josh Palmer of the Los Angeles Chargers, and he's really filled in great after Mike Williams went down due to injury. In a great matchup going up against Chicago, I put Josh Palmer at 26. 27, it's Devontae Smith, and people continue to rank him somewhere between wide receiver 12 and 15, and I really don't understand why. I love Devontae Smith, and I love the potential upside he has in this offense, but he just hasn't been there since week 2, and now that A.J. Brown is on a historic pace, you have to think they're going to continue to feed him the football. That's why I've dropped Devontae Smith down to 27, even though the matchup is great. 28 is Jakobi Meyers. I would love to have this guy every single week inside my top 20, but we still don't know who the quarterback is going to be right now. We know the targets are going to be there, but they're not all catchable targets. In a matchup going up against Detroit, whose secondary is pretty beat up, I still got Jakobi Meyers right here at 28. 29, Rashee Rice. We actually called a good game for Rashee Rice last week. Look at us finding a wide receiver in Kansas City that's worth a crap in fantasy football. But he's got a great matchup once again going up against Denver. He's been their leading wide receiver here for the last few weeks. I got him at 29. And then 30 is Josh Downs of the Indianapolis Colts. But maybe you're scratching your head going, Josh Downs, I haven't even heard Michael Pittman's name yet. I know, we'll talk about him here in a second, but Josh Downs could be the guy that sees more volume in this game due to the bad matchup for Michael Pittman, so I got Downs at number 30. Now, because I'm a man of the people, you know I'm going to talk about a few guys who are on the outside looking in, and honestly, I could have put like 20 names on here, but I narrowed it down to 10. Right here at the top, in no specific order, by the way, is Garrett Wilson of the New York Jets. Somebody who a lot of us wish we could get more out of. Now, at this point, we know that the ceiling isn't going to be what we thought it would be before the season started. However, the floor, fairly safe due to the volume that he's getting in a matchup going up against the Giants. Courtland Sutton, I would love to see this guy get 8 to 10 targets a week. He would be a top 15 wide receiver. The problem is they can't commit volume to him, and it's a difficult matchup going up against Kansas City. Calvin Ridley, or as I referred to him this week, Calvin Diddley. Now, if you look at the box score of your fantasy team, you don't see a whole lot of production from Calvin Ridley. If you actually turn on the tape to the game, though, the dude is wide open all over the field, but for whatever reason, he's not one of the top progressions for Trevor Lawrence, hardly ever. What about Christian Watson? Somebody sneezes sideways and Christian Watson gets hurt. Once again, he dealt with an injury in week 7. They say he's good to go already here in week 8. He's practicing already, but honestly, he can get hurt between now and tomorrow at this rate. Let's see if he's healthy heading into the weekend before we decide to move him up any higher. Plus, that Minnesota secondary playing a lot better here as of late. What about Chris Godwin? We didn't mention him. He's averaging 10 targets a game over his last 3 games played in a matchup going against the Buffalo Bills in Buffalo. Michael Pittman right here, a very difficult matchup because he's going to be opposite of Marshawn Lattimore, who has really been limiting opposing teams' top wide receivers for the most part here this season. Amari Cooper. Love Amari Cooper. Definitely don't love the quarterback play in Cleveland. Sounds like we're not going to have Deshaun Watson again. Sounds like it's going to be P.J. Walker, so great. A whole lot of non-catchable targets going the way of Amari Cooper, so he's dropped down here. How about Marquise Hollywood Brown? They're going up against Baltimore, and the Baltimore defense has been playing great football here as of late. They really limited the Lions' overall offense just last week. Now, sure, Amon-Ra ate last week against this Baltimore defense, but are we really thinking that Marquise Hollywood Brown is on the same level as Amon-Ra? Probably not, even though their last name still ends in Brown. How about Romeo Doubs? He could definitely move up the rankings if Christian Watson is limited in any form or fashion, but still a difficult matchup for them this week going up against Minnesota. And then DK Metcalf. It's not just because of the difficult matchup going up against Cleveland. DK himself did not play last week and is still limited. We're unsure whether or not he's going to be 100% full go. He's a top 15 wide receiver when he's fully healthy, regardless of the matchup. We're just waiting to find out. He is definitely a name I'm paying close attention to, and when the doc drops his injury video on Friday, that's going to be the name I'm looking for. All right, but that's going to wrap up my wide receiver rankings here for week 8. You may be looking at them being, I don't know, I see things differently. That's okay. We're not supposed to agree on fantasy football rankings. If we did, what would be the purpose in even watching them, right? You're taking my perspective and really applying it to yours, and that's when we come together as a community and make the best damn rankings we can. That's why we have so many championships to speak of here in Headliner Nation. So as we get out of here for the day, do me a favor, hit the like button, leave that comment down below. Be sure to have your free account signed up at Pristine Auction. There is a link down below in the description. I'm looking forward to giving away that helmet, but I'm going to go ahead and get out of here for the day. Hopefully you guys have a great rest of your day. Good luck this weekend, and then do your part to make the world a better place.